Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce the man behind today's occasion, Dr. Sanjay Runwal and Dad to me. Dad is a distinguished business strategist, humanologist, mentor, educator, orator, and author. After a successful business career spanning over 3 decades in retail, real estate, and hospitality, he chose to retire at the age of 55 to dedicate his life to giving back. He did this to the business fraternity through his 5 E attributes of experience, exposure, expertise, education, and excellence, and then to the society through his 3 W attributes of wealth, wisdom, and warmth. He is the founder of Strategic Business Solutions and the Sanjay Runwal Foundation, through which he mentors entrepreneurs, guides institutions, and supports charitable organizations. His books, Demystifying Strategy Implementation, The Strategy Handbook for Self Owned Businesses, and How to Live Life SBOP Living for Life After 55-60 have been widely acclaimed, with the latter winning the Golden Book Award 2025 with a translation also available in Hindi and Marathi. His most recent work, Thoughtful Reflections for a Meaningful Life, continues to inspire readers across India and abroad. Dad is also a speaker on strategic management and humanology. He is known for the Runwal's strategic management model and his philosophy of retire, rewire, and refire. Beyond his professional achievements, he is a poet, traveler, and commentator, living life with purpose and passion. I wanted to say fashion as well. So fashion, passion, both I must say. Dad has also been awarded with 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards for his outstanding contributions to the fields of construction and infrastructure. Academically, he's a postdoctoral senior fellow in business strategy, holds a master's degree in strategic planning, and is an electrical engineer by training. Above all, he is a man who believes that a small intent can make a large difference in the world. It is this spirit that has brought us together today to celebrate his latest contribution, Golden Retirement, Design Your Next Chapter Beyond the Balance Sheet. So please join me in welcoming again Dr. Sanjay Runwal, Dad, and give us a big round of applause for the man of the hour. We also have a very special member here today who would be deep diving into the book with Dad, Mr. Adwait Kurlekar. Adwait has over 30 years of experience in management consulting and coaching, having worked in leading organizations like Tata Motors, A.F. Ferguson, and PwC prior to starting Apohan Management Consultants. Adwait has expertise in the areas of business strategy, balanced scorecard, and HR consulting, and has led consulting projects across a range of sectors, including BFSI, engineering, automotive, retail, pharma, FMCG, hospitality, media, and advertising. Adwait, am I missing anything? Anything more to add there? Adwait has been a visiting faculty at SP Jain School of Management across the campuses in Dubai, Mumbai, Singapore, and Sydney, and is often an invited speaker to conduct sessions and workshops across other TIE chapters, incubators, and business schools. He is the chairman of the board of directors IIT Alumni Association, on the governing council of TIE Pune, and 2 publicly listed companies, Sakti Finance and Pradeep Metals, and also Travel Time Mobility Private Limited. A fun fact about Adwait that probably not too many people know about: he was my first boss when I started out my professional journey back in 2015. He was a mentor to me when I was actually learning the tricks of the trade. And it's that continued connection that has actually translated into getting Adwait here today. So thank you, Adwait, for graciously accepting, and boss, as I call him. So thank you, boss, for joining us today. And I'll hand it over to both of you to take on the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarika, for this warm introduction for both of us. So, Sanjay, as I was telling you before, I don't want to get too much into the book because if we discuss too much about the book, then you'll have a problem in sales outside, and I don't want that. So we'd rather talk about some learnings from the book rather than what's there in chapter 4 and what's there in chapter 7 kind of thing. But before we get into this book, a question that I had in my mind is that your first two books were on strategy. So why did you retire from strategy and write a book on retirement?
Like Sarika introduced Adwait as a man who is from business strategy, his question automatically comes out of strategy. So, right, Adwait?
Yes.
Yeah, I realize that. But before I answer you, Adwait, I should make a comment quickly about what our chief guest, Minochar Patel, spoke about. I must thank Minochar because, he said that, whenever he's invited, he decides what crowd has been the one behind inviting him, and then he decides whether to charge or not to charge. So let me make it very clear, dear friends, all of you, that when this cause was known to Minochar, his instant reply was, "I'm coming." And then I actually wrote to him that probably he has had a confusion because he is event managed by a company called Engage for Events, and one can't directly talk to him. One needs to go to him through an event management company. And I was just wondering, if he's got it wrong, and probably if he says yes, then probably the next mail would be something else. And I quickly wrote to him that, look, it's a book and it's a foundation. He said, I know it, and you don't need to clarify all that. I'm coming. So, friends, one big round of applause for Minochar because that is something which he didn't say, but it's my duty to tell that, Minochar. Thank you so much. Really, thank you. So now coming to
Yes.
the real question, Advait. I didn't retire from writing books on strategy because actually the first book, Demystifying Strategy Implementation, came in 2023, if I'm not wrong, 22 or 23. Then came books on humanology, but then came another book called Strategy Handbook, which was actually placed after a book on humanology. And a cousin of mine asked me that at some point in time in your life, you'll have to decide. Either you're going to be a writer, contributing yourself and your talent to strategy or to humanology. And I said, it's exactly the opposite. Because when I write strategy and I get fed up of that, I realize I need to now contribute into humanology. So one keeps the other going.
Okay.
My research has been in both fields. I hold intellectual property rights in both fields. So it actually is a complementary affair. It's not that, I need to keep one aside and then just hold to one.
So
I'm not going to divorce any.
okay.
I'm
So
going to keep both my wives happy. Yeah.
so they feed into each other in a way.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, even in your introduction, Sarika mentioned about four E's, three W's, and while I read the book, there are like 20 odd acronyms in your book.
Yes.
So, what's with you and acronyms?
Honestly, that's been one fascination that got created. One evening when I was actually sitting during COVID times on the patio of my bungalow, and I was seeing barren, open roads, not even a soul moving around. I was just wondering, what's happening to life. And I said, this particular pandemic is just going to lift anybody away. And who knows we're going to be around or not. And that is when I was comparing my life to a T20 match. T20 itself is an acronym.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was comparing my life to a T20 match. And I was just wondering, average Indian life is 80 years. And I was precisely at 60 at that point in time. I said, if it's a comparison to a T20 match, I'm probably batting in the 16th over.
Okay.
And if I'm in the 16th over, and if bad light or if the dew factor were to come into play, the number of overs which are going to be available for me could be hardly 2 or 3. So I realized life has to be put on a fast forward mode. Fast forward is FF.
Sure.
So I said, look, I need to do something which is different now. And then I realized I'll have to blow out things now. And then what do you blow out? I said, I'll blow out my wealth, wisdom, and warmth. And it came serially, Minochar. It wasn't something that I thought that they need to be 3 Ws, but they just came serially to my mind. And when it was wealth, wisdom, and warmth, I said, hey, presto, this is what I wanted, 3 Ws. And then when I said, I need to blow out these, I said it should be a systematic blowout plan, SBOP. So my fantasy for acronyms actually was not something which I had actually wanted to do. But one thing, let me tell you, acronyms are an easy way to reach out to people. If you're trying to give a whole big form in terms of a strategic blowout plan, people forget as they go home. But you just tell them SBOP. I once had Mrs. Parimal Chaudhary in one of the inaugurations of a book. And somebody said, this is Mr. Runwal, who's an author of a book. She said, what book? He said, SBOP. Yeah, I know about this book.
Okay.
So now this is the most logical thing which can happen. So everything now, Minocharji, Pratap sir, what I do now is create acronyms first. And then it goes for mass consumption.
This is sounding like too much like a government. Create acronyms and
Adwait, keep asking questions. I'll make my replies clear to you. Please, you have every authority to charge me now.
so. Do these acronyms act as mnemonics? Was that the thought process?
Uh, Honestly, it cuts both ways. When I said 5 E's, I had meant experience, expertise, exposure, education, and excellence. That's what Sarika said. Now, when I create these, I realize that, common people get connected with it much faster. As he said, educated, not so educated, less concerned about reading books, but yes, acronyms make a place in their hearts as well. So that is what I felt, these things are really making a right place in the hearts of people.
And you've not shied away from changing the 5 E's as well.
I did change it. I made an evolved 5E, which came later. See, friends, he's taking me into the journey, and that's what he's extremely good at. 5 E's are the E's which you use when you're actually in your profession, at work, when you're actually engaged in a profitable venture, doing business as a decision maker. But when you actually transition from a professional, a businessman, an entrepreneur, to be somebody who's actually now wanting to play a second innings. So as you rightly said, the warmth factor comes into play, and you need to tweak your 5 E's where you keep the experience and the expertise intact, but you bring in empathy, you bring in equanimity, and you bring engagement. So I changed 3 of the E's to empathy, equanimity, and engagement. So, various stages of life will need, you just don't have to use the first 5 E's, but then the evolved 5 E's later. Yeah.
So the evolved 5s are a mix of what I call hard and soft factors.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Absolutely, they are.
Now, let's come to another of your acronym, which is AED.
Yes.
Now, you have sort of alluded to the fact that, you should give away kind of thing, have, no longer attachments and kind of thing. But does it mean that, don't be attached to anybody, anything, etc.? Is it like taking a sannyas?
Wonderful question, Adwait. It's a nice way of using maybe a polished paper, a emery paper, and trying to rub me and make me come out with an answer which definitely is something due which the audience would like to listen to. And that's a nice way of putting that question, Adwait. Appreciate that. Friends, what our chief guest spoke about, I want to take this a step further because my first book, Suhas, you read it, is BOP Living. A lot of people here in the audience have read that book. SBOP Living spoke about SDL. Permit me to use the other acronym as well, SDL. And SDL was semi detachment in life. So, my answer to him is no, it's not total attachment, it is semi detachment. The question is, unless you start detaching yourself, happiness is always going to be away from you. That's the first and foremost things. Expectations, attachments, and desires are the root cause of unhappiness. And AED actually stands for attachment, expectations, and desires. So, Advait, what I'm trying to give you is a formula not to go into sannyas, right? So, having read the book, you are safe in good zone. Your wife is not going to curse me, nor anybody's wife as you go back home, ladies and gentlemen. But the point that I'm trying to make is after a certain age, uh, sannyas actually, between sannyas and brahmacharya ashram and grahastha ashram, is a vanprastha ashram. And friends, one of the biggest things that we all miss out is SDL signifies vanprastha ashram. Today, one doesn't pack his bags, takes a small lota, and goes away into the forest. The thing is, today SDL signifies a modified Vanaprastha ashram where you now start gradually in a semi detached way coming out of things so that you are liberated now. You are able to be happy because you are not connected with what others are doing to you. No expectations, no desires, and few attachments actually puts you into the best phase to be a happy person. So SDL is semi detachment, is not total detachment. Yeah. Thank you.
So I go back to the honored chief guest what he mentioned about a anecdote about Mercedes, having a Mercedes. Now, typically when you are at 55, 60 retirement, that's one of the, if you've not had that already, that's one of the things that by the time I retire, I should be so well off, financially independent that I should own a Merc or a Beamer or that kind of thing. And now you're saying semi-detach yourself then. When do I ever get a Mercedes then?
This is a question I would have definitely wanted to answer had you not asked me this question.
Okay.
You know, let me tell everybody here that why shouldn't one enjoy the best things that he loves to? But there is something called moderation.
Balance, like you think.
I call it moderation. And the balance factor is if somebody, take Mr. Shukla, loves to have a Bose system, at the same time, you can't be saying, I'll buy an iPhone 17, I'll buy a Merc, and I'll do this and I'll do that. And next 3 months, I'm going to fly to Switzerland, Italy, and the US. So you have your areas well defined and you're free. Why not? There is some area where somebody believes that, he loves to travel. Go ahead. Continue with that because that is what keeps your life going. That's what is actually the core factor which is enthusing you, and you shouldn't give that up. But it doesn't mean just because somebody else is doing something else, I should be doing that as well. Expectations and desires and attachments have to be actually detached there. You should not be doing it for optics to show the world that this is what I am now. This is Sanjay has arrived. Making a statement because I'm coming in a Mercedes SL. That's what he spoke about. Who do I want to show at this age? If I enjoy being in a Creta, Hyundai, I'm good. If I am good in a Kia Carens, I'm good. As long as I enjoy, fine. And if I tomorrow believe all my savings should go into a Porsche, good, no worries. That's your call.
Yeah.
But then don't do it for social optics. That's what I'm trying to say. I think that carries the point.
But the human tendency is always about comparison and the fear of FOMO आजकल के जमाने में जो बोलते हैं and लोग क्या बोलेंगे if I get out of a Maruti Alto लोग क्या बोलेंगे
Uh, I think this point also Minocha very rightly had covered, but I'm going to amplify because this book is all about that and you getting it out in the best possible way, Advait. Friends, whatever Advait's coming out with is out of the Pandora's box. Nothing of this was known. Nothing of this was rehearsed. Everything is coming out of the first time. And I'm happy because I love it that way. Advait, the thing is, when what we liberated. Yeah. So, when one feels that, your life is not being defined by what others talk about you, what others feel about you. That is the only moment when you feel truly liberated, when you feel truly happy, because you do not seek validation from the outer world. As long as you seek validation from the outer world, believe me, Advait, believe me, everybody here in the audience, I have walked this talk, and that is what Ravi said. I have walked this talk. I have never hesitated to tell openly that I have not come in a large car. I have come in a car which is 12 years old. Mind my words, my car is 12 years old. And I have no hesitation in saying that. But does it reduce my worth here in this auditorium, Advait? Why? Because you have rebuilt your worth in something else. The question today is we want to consider our worth only through Mercedes, which is an external validation. If you build worth within yourself, the Mercedes is secondary, you are primary, and that is what I am trying to build in Golden Retirement. The question is, we have all been actually using props which are from the outside world, and those props, once they are gone, what is the worth left in you is the question that I ask now.
So, talking of retirement, um, in your view, should it be a pull factor or a push factor? Should you get into retirement or get out of your last job or profession?
The picture begins now. Uh, there are two kinds of categories that we have. So please. Yeah, I can understand. Yes. Thank you very much. It's a real honor having you, sir. Uh, this is a question that I was really wanting to discuss about. Governments, private sector, jobs. Something amiss? Something amiss? Yeah, all good? Yeah. When we work for the government, when we work for the private sector, public sector, the day we get into a job, you are given a date, what is called superannuation. When you're going to superannuate, when you're going to actually retire, that date is written. That date is cast on a stone. But what happens about people who don't work in those fields? And I think probably your question was for that field. So this is for people who are achievers, who are performers, who come from their own fields of industry, business, their own enterprise, they're decision makers. They're always on the high in terms of their achievements. And then comes a time when somebody, the wife most probably, and sometimes the grown up children say, Papa, बहुत कर लिया, अब थोड़ा आराम करिए. This doesn't happen with the gentleman himself. 18 times, out of the 18 reasons that I've said, it doesn't happen all the 18 times, but then there is one time when your family says, you've been losing on your health, you've been losing on your mental comfort, and what are you just running behind? This is sheer madness. You should stop it. Who says it? You're not saying that. There you can probably see there's somebody pushing you. But 17 times out of 18, it's a pull factor. Okay. My own research, the last 5 years, very honestly, friends, my own research on this topic has been on for the last 5 years. And this book has been a culmination of what has been a research. It's not something which came out of something which you pulled as best practices from here and there. It's a life lived, its experiences, its lessons, and its learnings all taken together here. So there is a pull factor which actually is a cause.
Yeah.
It's a pull factor. Now it's a question about the pull factor is hibernating inside. The pull has to be pushed to come out.
इसको जगाना है.
उसको जगाना पड़ता है. Because the pull is there for the last decade. I have a very dear friend of mine, Suhas Merchant, sitting here. He's a grand old man of the construction industry. I have had a few private one-on-ones with him, and I know he loves. But then, how long is he going to do that? His children say, "Papa, बंद करो. What is all this nonsense? इसको खत्म करो. फाइलें ले लेके घूमते हो सुबह शाम. अब इसको रुकाओ इसको." So he also knows there is a limit to which he can work. But then that factor has to be there alongside this. But the real factor is a pull, your own reasons, your own burnout, your own stress.
Sure. In sports, they say that you should retire when you're at your best form, when you've just won a championship or something like that. And many people do, some people don't. Is this principle valid in our professional life? Because normally, unless you're a fast tracker, and most of us would not be, you are at the best of times in your mid 50s, and the retirement is still 5 7 years later. Should you take that early retirement and say that, look, this is the best time, otherwise people will start saying ki kab retire hoga?
That's a lovely question. I always give two examples. One was the example of Sunil Gavaskar. Sunil Gavaskar's clear example from cricket says, he scored a string of centuries. Not a century, but a string of centuries. And at that opportune time, he said, I'm going to retire. And now I'm going to take the name of an Yorkshire man. How many of you probably, the way I pronounce that, would have got a hint about who I was speaking about? Geoffrey Bycott. An Yorkshire man is how he proudly called himself. Dada, he scored 220 in a cricket match. When he went out to bat, his captain's instruction was, Geoffrey, go and score briskly. I want to declare this innings. I want to declare this innings. Geoffrey Bycott, a proud Yorkshire man, didn't heed to his non-Yorkshire man captain's words, and he scored at his own pace. The captain couldn't declare till he had completed his 200, and by the time it was lunchtime, he had done 220. Geoffrey Bycott was dropped in the next test match. Now it is one instance where you take a personal call and the other where somebody else takes a call for you. The point that I'm trying to make here is the truth lies somewhere in between. When you are at your peak, ask yourself a question. What would I want the world to remember me for? The moment of glory? Or that string and the shadow of decline? I think the answer comes straight to you, because if you step out at that point, maybe a little later, you have a few more files to clear, of course. I realize that. But then you have to choose the right moment so that you don't go into a very bad downslide and then say, I am going out. The world says, you're not gone out. You have been pushed out.
So just to another question on that what kind of signs people should start writing on the wall, so that the retirement is golden retirement and not golden handshake?
I have devoted an entire chapter, Adwait, and which is the longest chapter of this book, to exactly that inner question that comes to your mind as to why and when should one think of retiring. And plenty of those questions come out of overlaps as well. It's not just something which is clearly bifurcated and clearly divided. 18 reasons. One of them is a simple thing. If it's not your ikigai, you're not loving it, you're not enjoying it, it's neither paying you, and neither is it world needing it, why are you doing it? Just for the sake of doing it? I heard a lot of people saying the show must go on. Friends, never, 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 ever utter this word. The show must go on. For whom? At your cost? Burning your fingers? Others believe the show must go on. So please don't do that. Many a times, the early signs are burnout, fatigue, loss of concentration, loss of interest. Business is business. It's not for passing time. A lot of people in this country hang around in their business premises, hang around in the business premises just because they have nothing else to do. And businesses are not meant to do that. Businesses are meant to create wealth. I am not saying for making yourself rich, but for creating wealth. And wealth is what is of good to the nation. Riches only go to your pockets. So, friends, there are lot many reasons. I would not say all of them here. Minochaji gave me a very clear mantra, because people will buy your book only when you reveal a little and hold back a lot. So I take lessons quickly. I'm a smart guy. I'll not give away more. Adwait is cunning, but I'll not express much. I'm sorry for you having used that word. Yeah,
It's all in good faith.
yeah.
Uh, I was just intrigued by what Ravi mentioned in his opening remarks: glass half full, glass half empty, and he mentioned about the cover of the book, and he sort of called it sunrise for a cover of a book which is golden retirement. So people would have said it's sunset. But what I've observed from many people whom I've seen at close quarters is that they always say, and actually it is true, that they are become busier after they retire. And I guess that's with you as well. So how does this happen?
Can we have a big round of applause for Advait for this? Friends, how could questions be so nicely disguised to get answers for everything that this book contains? Advait, salute to you. Friends, the person who designed this cover is here in the room. Shub, could you just come out for a second, please? Shub. Okay, don't worry, don't. There is somebody who's sitting inside and who's actually designed the cover. And when he designed, we had two criterias, whether it's going to be a sunrise or a sunset. So, friends, I was very clear. It is sunset because I am at 60. It is a sunset, but it's a dawn of a new day for me. It's a new innings of my life. Shub and I had this discussion. Whether was it a rising sun or was it a setting sun? Shub asked me that question. So Shub, I'm answering that question right now over here. That yes, he asked me that question. He said, if you're going to be showing such a big ball of golden sun, people may mistake it to be a sunrise. I said, I want that mistake to happen. Because retirement is not a sunset at all. In my own opinion, retirement is a new sunrise. It's a new dawn. It's a new era in your life.
Lovely. The challenge is that when we retire, normally most of us retire from a position of power, authority, great designations, perks, benefits, etc. And most of us, or many of us, think that all that power, authority is to me, and we fail to recognize that it is not to me, it is to the position or the chair that I'm occupying. How post retirement, what would be your take in terms of how do you rationalize this कि कुर्सी छोड़ दिया तो कुर्सी के साथ बहुत कुछ निकल जाता है, And the same people who were very close to you or you thought were very close to you suddenly are very distant. They suddenly lose interest in you because now you are of no utility to them.
I should ask you a question, Advait. Uh, I always believe that Sant Naneshwar was the only person on this earth who didn't experience a lot of things in life, but yet wrote the Naneshwari. Are we sitting with other Naneshwar here?
No.
That's what I'm tending to believe. But that's a lovely question, Advait. I have a very very simple question to everybody sitting in this hall, a male, a female, whoever it is. Till a certain age, we all carried a thing, a piece of small paper, which was called a visiting card. Advait Kurlekar, CEO and founder, Apohan Management Consultants Private Limited. Sanjay Runwal, CEO and founder, Runwal Housing Group of Companies. And one fine day, something maddening happens in your mind, and you say, this story is over now. And when that card vanishes from your pocket, what is left as a residue in you and me is your question.
Yeah.
Friends, $1 million question, not a million, but $1 billion question. A loud set of claps. Don't clap halfways, please. Be loud to clap. See, this is the prime aspect which stops and prevents people from coming out of a business or a profession. Who's the timekeeper? Who's going to? We have to. That's the last question that we are answering. Okay, wonderful. So the thing is, friends, if the glass has to be half empty and seen as half full, if you are the principle of Boyle's law, if there is displacement, you have to add back worth. If you are not going to put back worth in yourself, which I said, retire, rewire, and then refire. So unless people are not going to rewire, you're not going to refire. And the world is then going to consider you as somebody who's now a spent force. Respect is not something which you can demand, can ask people to give. It's something which will come from people when they see you of relevance socially, in a position where you're giving back, contributing. Social relevance is contribution, which our guest Minochar spoke about. So you will have to build a different set. Initially it is profit, now it is purpose. Friends, mark my words. Initially it is profit, now it's purpose. Initially it was success, now it is significance. Initially it was living a life, now it's creating a legacy for life. So, friends, if you can create this differentiation, I'm sure, even if that card is snatched away from you, Advait, you and me, yeah, still this world is going to consider us to be relevant. This world will consider us relevant only because what we are able to contribute, have an impact, and leave as a legacy.
Sure.
So this is what will make us relevant to the world. We'll have to continue to do that. Yeah.
One final question before we take the question to the audience.
Please.
How would you describe a ideal golden retiree?
Great. I gave an answer which probably carried this, but I'm going to give you a little stat before we actually answer this question. Friends, at this point in time in this country, the demographics shows that one in every 10 of this population is above 60. Advait, that's the current demographics. But friends, let me tell you, by 2100, 1 in 3 of this country is going to be above 60. I am quoting from the UN statistics, which I have put in the book here with a great degree of responsibility, having checked the facts multiple times. But if this is going to happen, Advait, that the demographics is going to change in this fashion, we will have to build a set of golden retirees who will not be people who will now be saying that, my life is a life of withdrawal, of something where I have tapered out. My life is over. I have no more contributions to make. Golden retirees are the people who, in this current demographics, as we see it emerging, will be people to this nation's contributing. They will be contributors to the welfare of this nation. And what we call as the silver economy will turn out to be the golden economy. The silver hair contributes the silver economy, but they will be the golden economy of this nation because 1 in every 3 is going to be above 60. So those are the days when I see people will sit with people above 60 and say, give us something which is worthwhile that we could do. We could all contribute to that cause. And I have no doubt or a dilemma that we're very close to that situation. And this book is going to be a watershed book for that cause. And this country may probably be remembering not me, but at least the book for that cause.
Well said, well said. So we have some time for audience questions.
Question and answers.
Anybody from the audience? Any questions? Questions only, no comments, please.
Yeah.
So
What is the approach of J&J regarding
I have, yeah.
no, what is the approach of J&J, Generation J, regarding retirement?
See, the question today is the burnout factor is much higher. The burnout factor is much higher in this generation. But they are very fearful of the fact that, if they get out of work, they would be seen somebody who are absolutely in a phase of withdrawal, decline, and they would lose their one, relevance, two, what is their role? What are they going to do? The question today is retirement is only a change in the nature of activity that you do. You were formerly doing something which was bringing profit. Now is an era where you are going to contribute to a larger purpose. What is that purpose? How do you build purpose? The book speaks about it very clearly. As you go out, please pick a copy of the book. I have taken enough efforts to spell that out. But yes, you're right. But this generation is more keen to retire faster. I have heard youngsters today at 38, 40 saying the burnout factor is so high that it's time that I now give this up and start doing something. Technocrats have built cloud kitchens. Technically, they have retired as software engineers. They have retired, but they have taken something of passion. And that passion is also a part of keeping oneself involved in a passionate way. He's still a golden retiree. He's still a golden retiree in my age because he's doing something which passionately keeps him involved. So these changes are bound to happen. These are coming fast. And mind you, this book also holds a lot of significance for that generation which you're talking about. Please, Ravi.
We still have some time, don't worry about that. But I just wanted to share a few observations. Sorry, I took myself as a Ravi. Just 1 minute. One is that what is retirement is a very fundamental question which one needs to ask. For example, when we say I need rest, change of work is a rest. And why I said Sanjay, sunrise, sun never sets, it travels from one place to other place. While it is resting, becoming dark here, in US it is rising. Like that, you change your work, you don't really retire, you start new work. And therefore, sun is always rising when you are trying to work, was my message when I said, Ravi, please. Dr. Ravi.
I just want to make comment that
Question, please. Question.
yes, his question is coming to question that this book has a lot of contents in it, and when we take the book and read, we are actually interacting one on one with it. If there is some kind of a training course. I've seen, I saw that from Mr. Patel is here, who had mentioned that, but I want to emphasize on this. Okay, there has to be need to be a training or even a course, you can call it a short course, which actually walks through this whole journey, will make it much more easy for people to absorb. So there should be so that is what I feel should be there.
I think, Ravi, that's a very valid point. And if you all want to know about this, I and Ravi had actually been on a Zoom call across the seven oceans. And we had some scientists and metallurgists from almost about few different continents who had all come together in a late night Zoom call. And we were talking about SBOP living. So, what Ravi is coming from is this kind of a thing, he needs hand holding. The point that Ravi is trying to make is we need to take people with soft velvet gloves, satin gloves, into the journey of retirement. It should not be a jerky, it should not be an accidental fall, it should not be jumping down the cliff, but it should be a very steady descent, like at a cruise mode. A flight takes a descent down and then eventually lands at an airport. So, Ravi, I am very much thoughtful about it. I believe I need to be contributing. You will have just do one favor to me. Would you, Ravi? You will have to talk to my wife. You'll have to talk to my wife. She has a dialogue. एक नन्ही सी जान क्या क्या करेगी. So just convince her. I'm sure I'm willing to take it up. Yeah. Yes. Sandeep bhai. Nitin, please. Yeah.
My question is, what is the right time to read this book? Because people are skeptical in retiring, and at one place you have mentioned that you will have to develop a network beyond your professional network. So unless you read this book, you will not be willing to retire. So what will be the ideal age or ideal time to read this book? Before retirement, just at the time of retirement, or what?
I'm going to answer this question because I have a definite, but I have Adwait with me, who's more knowledgeable. I know for sure. I let this question pass to Adwait first, please. Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm just on a lighter note. It's already too late to read. So,
Nitin, that was a brilliant question. That question came from Nitin Wag. I would request everybody to just at least say your name so that we come to know who's put that question across. That's a very dear friend of mine called Nitin Wag who asked this question. Nitin, the right age to read this book is at the age of 40. When you are in the cruise mode, this book can be read by a person who's 95. Anybody can read a book at any age and still benefit because the question is how much is the headroom available. The point is, what is the headroom available? See, at 40, the headroom for you to absorb from this book is much larger. You're going to get much more valuable stuff out of this book if you read it at 40. If you read it at 65, probably the headroom has shrunk. And what you can probably get is a little lower. But let me tell you, I do not want to cut on the audience who's going to buy this book. So let me not kind of state that it's only for 40 or 45. It's meant for people up to 95. Fadnis sir, when you go back, please take one for your elder brother as well. Not just for you. You are an octogenarian, but for a nanogenarian also. Please carry a book. So that is what I mean. I have Ramesh Joshi Dada, the chairman of Nichrome, India Limited, India's first packaging company, which went into big time packaging. He's 89. He's just written a book which I and the Sanjay Runwal Foundation had the honor to publish for him. But for him, learning never stops. He's going to read this book. So my answer to you is the right age 40, no cutoff. 95, yes, you can read this book. 40 onwards. Anju? Yeah. Yeah. Uday, I can see you. Uday, you can ask a question. Then we'll pass it to her.
Yeah, so since it's the only question, first let me ask the question that one of the five mantras, Guru mantras that Sir has given, I want to give one example for that. So can I give an example of one
A
of
question, please. Let's keep it to the question. Statements later on.
Okay, no,
Yeah,
after
please,
the program, yes.
please.
Good evening, friends. Hi, this is Neeta Yadwar. I have one question for Sanjay. I love reading your books. So, what are your future plans? What books have you planned for all of us? I'm not going to ask Pratibha anything. ये नन्ही जान कर सकती है, मुझे पता है.
Well, friends, let me first introduce who is Neeta. Neeta is my schoolmate from 5th standard on to 8th. We both studied in Bijapur, in Karnataka. We both come from the same school called VB Darbar High School. Neeta was considered to be a fantastic orator, And the question that she has asked, pretty relevant, Neeta. The next book that I have in mind is called STDP. Yes, I have a real liking for, as Adwait said, penchant for acronyms. And yes, acronyms would never leave me. Systematic touchdown plan for people who are 45 and in the cruise mode. That is the time when the real handholding is required. And Dr. Ravi Kulkarni was also one, and Adwait was the second person to have pointed to me that the real handholding needs to start then. And let me tell you, my trademark for STDP was taken 4 years back. So, as a sequel to SBOP, it was planned. Only thing again is Nandhi Si Jaan Kya Kya Karegi Ek Saath. So that is one. And the other book which is going to come is SBAC. Second bite at the cherry. Second bite at the cherry. I have always believed the second bite at the cherry is more sweeter than the first bite because we didn't know how to bite it at the first instance. Now we are smarter.
In your golden retirement book, you have made it only for the men, or even the ladies have to retire sometime. If we are a homemaker, how to retire? We never retire. We are always at go and we are always working. So, how to retire? Can you give us some tips?
Anju, that's a fantastic question, and you've taken me 5 steps back. Adwait used to just push me 1 step back, but you have been smart enough to ask me a question. But I'd love to answer that. Number one, your first question, part of the question was, is it only for men and is it not for women? With a very, very clear heart and a great degree of responsibility, let me tell you, 50% of the population of this nation is women. And I can't cut women out of it because my book sales actually cuts by 50. That's in a lighter vein. Don't take it seriously. That's in a lighter vein. But then even at the top helm, people also talk about inclusion of that 50 so that, we make sure that political assertion stays strong.
So, you should make a book for us also.
No, this book is meant for you also, Anju. Let me tell you, yes, the way we have structured our living needs a change. I am pointing it to women folk. The way we have structured our lives needs a change. Like the men have kind of liberated themselves. Nobody else is going to come and liberate you. First, try and understand that, if you need... Clap, sir, please, louder. The men are clapping, the women are not. I can see it from here. But one thing that I'm going to tell you, Anju, very clearly is we have to make sure that our pain points, which are actually pinching us, which are thorns, they're thronging us, we'll have to make sure that we find out ways. Society is not going to give you ways. This is a harsh society. It's a cruel society. It is absolutely somebody, it's a place which doesn't come to your rescue unless you decide. Now is the time that I put my hands up. Gentlemen, learn cooking yourself now. I'm being very serious about it. We all live in small nuclear families and we all have to realize solo living is going to come to us. I am touching a very, very serious topic. Solo living is going to come to us. It's going to hit each one of us. try to be responsible as men, because women have found ways of handling themselves even when men are not around. But men have still not structured their life to live without the women. And what she has questioned is a wake up call for all the men here. This is a wake up call for all the men here. Please understand the lady's question has actually given rise to 1,000 kind of doubts, dilemmas, chaotic situations in your minds. Please go back today and think over that. Anju, I'm really thankful to you. That's really great.
I think we are coming to an end to a very interesting interactive session for which we must thank Adwait and Sanjay. And sometimes I'm getting a little worried with these acronyms of Sanjay, you know. I'll just give some small thing. During our commerce study in commercial correspondence, we were told to make things easy. Language is a vehicle of thought, they say. And a simple example I will give, there was a sentence which read, third person singular witnessed a mighty conflagration. I mean, everybody was wondering what it is. And the simple version of it is, he saw a big fire. Third person singular, he, mighty conflagration, big fire. So, friends, let's keep it simple and enjoy life. It was a great session. And I would now like to invite Pratibha Runwal to give the vote of thanks for this session. Thank you.
Heartiest congratulations, Dr. Sanjay Runwal. We're really proud of you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Sanjay Runwal Foundation, we sincerely thank our chief guest, Mr. Minochar Patel, for his inspiring presence and insightful reflections this evening. Our heartfelt thanks to our moderator, Mr. Adwait Kurlekar, for guiding today's discussion so skillfully and masterly way. A special mention of Mr. Ravi Pandit, our Master of Ceremonies, for anchoring the program with such grace and clarity. We would also to acknowledge our family friend, Mr. Rahul Dev, who always there to capture precious memories, and Mr. Subhankar Sonavne for his valuable assistance in this event, as well as the designing the wonderful covers for Runwal's books. Finally, we deeply appreciate Dr. Sanjay Runwal, whose vision and dedication have brought us together to celebrate golden retirement. We thank each one of you in the audience for your gracious presence and encouragement. May today's reflections inspire purposeful action in our lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pratibha. It has been a wonderful evening. Sanjay, ye dil abhi bhara nahi. But all good things have to come to an end. And so, this evening also is coming to a logical end. And I'm sure we all will be carrying wonderful memories of this evening. And I thank the whole audience for your graceful presence here. Thank you.